Hello, Yvette. It's so nice to have you on the show today. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. Thank you so much for having me, Elijah.
Beautiful. And thank you so very much for being here. You see, I truly appreciate you. And you see, Yvette, oftentimes I love to thank my guest for two things. And I do this so often to the point where it has become my anthem. So, firstly, Yvette, I want to say thank you so very much for investing in yourself. You see, you are on this platform right now because you did invested in yourself. And oftentimes, Yvette, I love to make reference to the amazing mango tree. You see, some couple of months back, I was on a particular road, and just by the roadside, Yvette, there was this very tall, unattractive mango tree. And I used the word unattractive because the mango tree's got no mangoes on it, and the leaves were all dry. So I just walked past it and I went my way. But you see, Yvette, just
Mm.
recently, I was on that same road. And this time around, hmm, a lot's changed about the mango tree, I tell you. The mango tree caught my attention pretty good from a distance. And immediately, I got the urge to move so close to it, of which I did, and it wowed me. Because now the mango tree's got a lot of mangoes on it, beautiful green leaves and healthy branches, and not just mangoes now, Yvette, I'm talking about ripe mangoes. It was such a lovely experience that day. I was so excited. Here is my point. The fact that you dedicated your time, energy, and resources to becoming the amazing Yvette that you are today, that alone has made it impossible for me to skip you. And that's why you got the request for me to be on the show because I was attracted to the fruit of all that you're doing, your philosophies, your insight, your journey so far, the impact your work is having, Yvette, how you're offering your solutions. These stuffs are beautiful. And just before I sent you that
Thank you.
request, yeah, I said to myself, I said, I've got to benefit from this beautiful thing Yvette is doing, and not only me now, but even with the audience. And here we are today with the amazing Yvette. So thank you so very much for doing that yourself. And secondly, thank you for saying yes to the invite. Because if you had said nope, there was nothing Elisha could do about it. Thanks so much.
Right. You know what? It's all
Yeah.
about saying yes.
Hmm.
Live the life that you want by saying yes,
Hmm. Saying yes.
because you never know what's going to happen,
Wow.
right? I say yes to everything. The things that I never thought would be amazing because I said yes turned out to be amazing. And the
Wow.
things that I thought would be so great,
Got it.
right? So I just say yes to everything.
Amazing. I love that. So let's get started. You see, I'm quite excited to have you on the show today, Yvette, for two reasons. Firstly, my interest in knowledge seeking. I believe in order for one to transition from a terrible situation to that of a beautiful one, Yvette, I believe it takes the application of knowledge, quality information. And you see, ever since I discovered that light in the Hebrew means knowledge and darkness ignorance, I've been so keen to knowledge seeking. Why? Because I do not want to remain in the dark. So that's going to make our conversation today very important to me and even to the listeners. And the second reason why I'm
Mm.
excited to have the incredible Yvette on the show is for the sake of the audience. You see, we live in an age where information is as abundant as grains of sand. We've got a lot of information flying out there. So these folks trust me for quality, high opening, and very important information, of which I am totally convinced, Yvette, that our conversation is going to be insightful and impactful. So for that reason, Yvette, yeah, let's get started with your introduction. Talk to us about your personal
Okay.
or your professional journey, because right now we are so curious. We want to know how Yvette got here. Then afterwards, I've
Hmm.
gotten some beautiful questions for you. Okay, Yvette, over to you.
Okay. So, my journey, I want you to picture this. I came here from Spain. I'm from Spain and I'm half black and Spanish. And I came to America in seventh grade. And when I lived in Europe, I went to a boarding school. So here I am in my first day of an American school in seventh grade. And my mom said, just wear your boarding school uniform. Meanwhile, these girls had makeup on, jeans, the whole nine. And I walk into the cafeteria in seventh grade and everyone looking at me, and I just didn't fit in. I didn't know where to sit, and I didn't have a friend. And I think that has been the way I felt my whole life, because my skin color, I'm not black, I'm not white. This is before there was Drake and Beyonce, right? This is before the big ones. I moved here, there was a lot of prejudice. I didn't understand that. And my journey started then, where I just didn't feel like I fit in, but I felt like I could fit in if I started to drink. And that's where I went in that fork of the road with the wrong people. And so my journey took me to alcoholism, drug addiction, and eating disorders. And I was a homeless stripper at the end. And mind you, I came from a wealthy upbringing. My father's a doctor, my mother's a professor. I had all the things growing up, but I never felt right inside. So I used those things, outside things, to numb myself. And God came in and intervened and said, I have a higher purpose for you. So today, my purpose is to make my mess the message. First of all, anyone suffering with mental health or any kind of addiction needs to know they're not alone. This is not to be silenced. This is to be spoken about, because I never want any woman or man to feel how I felt. So alone, so isolated. And secondly, there's so much purpose in my pain, because if I can just help one person today, then I did my job. That's what God wants for me, is to help others.
To help
So that's it.
others. I love that. And that part where you mentioned making your mess the message, that's a beautiful one. And the fact that
Mm.
you went through all of that and you came out of it and now you're giving credit to God. I love that as well. So there's this part I'm curious about, okay? So how did you realize that you had a problem with drinking and drugs?
So the very first thing in anything you want to change in your life is awareness, right? Awareness is a gut whisper. It's like but you don't really want to know. It's like picking up the couch and seeing all the mess. You don't want to do that, right? But one day I was getting ready for work and I looked at myself in the mirror. I got out of the shower and I was so mad at myself. I gave myself the finger and I was bleeding out of my nose and I had blown a hole through my nose from cocaine. And I looked at myself and I said, if you don't change your life, you are going to die. But let me tell you something about awareness. Awareness is like that shoulder tap that says, you might need to change this, but this is what happens. The devil says, it's not that bad. Start
Hmm,
tomorrow. And then you're stuck in the hamster wheel of never getting clean. Because I started to get clean every Monday. Every Monday I started over, but it's not that bad. And I go back out, until the pain is great enough. When the pain is great enough, then we change. When I had nothing left, when I destroyed everything, then I became willing. You have to become willing to do something different than what you did. And I think for a lot of people, it takes a lot of pain to be willing.
hmm, hmm. Wow. You said something that really stood out. When the pain is great enough, then we change. That's really profound.
Mm.
And I got that. So let's talk about fitness. So what role did fitness play in your recovery?
Well, at the beginning, fitness was kind of played into my addiction because I was bulimic and anorexic. So fitness kind of was not the best for me because I would just work out and teach fitness classes. But here's the thing, and this is a very powerful sentence: secrets keep you sick. Because I would have the bra top with a six pack, but I was throwing up every night. See, I was Gucci on the outside and Walmart on the inside, you know? And I had to change my fitness from being this addiction to taking my emotional pain I felt from the addiction of drugs and alcohol and making it physical pain. So it didn't go into the vanity fitness, the iron, the lifting weights, took my emotional pain, made it physical pain, and I was able to bear that pain. And fitness showed me everything. It showed me patience and tolerance. You could do bicep curls for a year. You might not see anything for 2 years. Patience and tolerance. It showed me respect. You have to respect your body. It showed me keep your space cleaner for the next person who's coming. It showed be kind, help the next person. The gym literally saved my life. You know that book, Everything I Learned in Kindergarten?
Yeah.
Everything I learned about life, I learned in the gym. It's true.
Awesome. Awesome.
It's true.
So what about your book? How did you come up with the title? Booze, Blow, and Pancakes?
So booze is alcohol, right? Blow is cocaine. And pancakes was what I would binge and purge on. So I was bulimic on pancakes because I would eat hundreds of pancakes with butter and syrup and just eat them and throw them up because it was easy to come up. You know, peanut butter's not easy to come up, but
Yeah.
pancakes was my drug of choice with the food. So booze, blow, and pancakes. And one day my client said, "You should write a book." I said, "Booze, blow, and pancakes." And she's like, "That's a great name." And that's what happened. Okay. Okay.
Okay, so we have three more to go. Let's talk about your marriage. So what was it like going through divorce after 20 years of marriage?
So again, Elijah, that was the gut whisper. I had known for many, many years that we were best friends, but we were roommates. We were roommates with children. And I feel a lot of women, when they've been married for a long time, their identity is a wife and a mother. And that was my identity. I also don't have any other family. I never wanted to leave because he was my best friend and he checked all the boxes, but there wasn't that intimacy, that connection. He went this way, I went this way, we eat dinner. It was more, financial and children than it was our connection. And I just felt like I wanted to have, somebody to spend my life with, that I had things in common, because now my kids are grown and they're going to do their life. And I enjoy AA meetings and the gym and being home. And, he might enjoy politics, sports, and eating out. So, just people change. We outgrow each other, but he's still today my best friend. But I know I wanted something deeper.
Oh, I got that. That awareness that you mentioned. Well, I think that's the key. Okay, so what are the biggest lies women in midlife believe that keep them stuck?
Wow, that is a great question. I think one of the biggest lies that keeps them stuck is, I'm too old. I don't know. Where do I start? That's how I felt about my divorce. I didn't even know how to write a check, Elijah. Where am I going to go at 55 years old? Who am I going to go out with? It's like, where am I going to go? I don't even go to bars. Where am I going to meet anybody? I'm going to die alone with my cat? That I, or I don't know. How am I going to get a job? I don't understand technology. I
Hmm,
don't know where to start. I, I, I don't have friends. I think in midlife, if we want something different, we have to be willing to be uncomfortable. Because for another woman to ask another woman, "Will you be my friend?" Not on Facebook, but like, "Can we go for coffee?" It's very hard when you don't
hmm,
have the children from Danny's soccer to introduce Sarah and Sally. It's
hmm,
just
hmm,
me. "Elijah, will you be my friend? Can we go for coffee?" It's very vulnerable.
hmm,
And I think a
yeah.
lot of women are afraid to put themselves out there because they haven't in so long.
I got that. And that's a powerful one. Thank you for mentioning that. So how do mindset, discipline, and movement work together in your approach?
Okay, that's a great one. Well, first of all, it all begins with the mental reps. You have to do the mental reps. And that usually means you have to have a plan and you have to have accountability. Because a lot of people promise themselves, "I'm going to start my diet on Monday," but they don't have the accountability of someone checking up on them. So I always say, patterns over promises. You need a pattern that your brain will remember, a system to achieve your goals, right? Because it's great to have all the motivation Monday mindset, but by Thursday, you're eating tacos and drinking wine. So it's a plan, it's an accountability, and then it's routine. To set it in plan, have someone check on you and follow through. Because as we go through stages, whether it's exercise, finances, building a business, we get bored, we get tired of it, right? We say, "Fuck it, I don't want to do this anymore." So unless you have someone keeping you accountable, it's very easy to be off track.
Mm,
So
mm,
as a fitness and mindset coach, I tell people, you can tell me you want to work out all day, but if we don't get your mind right and you start eating everything on Friday, Saturday, Sunday, you're going back in the same circle. We got to figure out your mind. Why are you eating at 8 p.m. every night when you said you wouldn't, right?
right.
So the
Wow.
mind is powerful.
The mind is powerful. I got that.
Mm.
So to bring this to an end, Yvette, what would you like to leave the audience with, like a final thought? And to those folks who would like to reach out to you, learn more about the beautiful stuff you're doing, or even open your programs or services, or make a purchase of your book, how can that be possible?
Well, if I was going to leave anybody with a message, my one message is it's never too late. And if there's breath, there's hope. I feel like a lot of us think, we're too far gone. I don't know why I'm still alive. I literally had nothing, but I had breath. And today I'm a business owner. I'm a mom. I'm sober 22 years. I'm fit because I chose to act differently. So if anyone's feeling stuck right now, my message is if there's breath, there's hope. And you can change anything at any age.
You can change anything at any age. If there is breath, there is hope. Powerful words. And I tell you, at 55, you look just so young, Yvette. Oh boy. Wow. I love that. That's a beautiful one. Okay. So that's going to be
Thank
the
you
end of the
so,
show,
thank you
Yvette.
so
Thank you
much
for
for having me
coming.
on today.
Yeah. And thank you for
Thank you.
sharing this
Thank
beautiful
you.
stuff. It means so much. Thank you so much.
I appreciate you, Elijah. Have a great day.